Today I'm we are with Jose. Jose is your real name, right?
Yes, my real name. Yeah.
Um, so today we're gonna talk about Da Nang and the life in Vietnam because what is quite interesting with you is you live here for more than a year, like a year and a half, I think. And I hope there is not too much noise around because there's like some fake birds noise and music. So I hope it's okay. With the mic should be okay. But today, Jose and me and I, we're gonna talk about life in Vietnam and also other topics, which gonna be I think interested because Jose for me is an interesting person. We have some deep conversation already. That was last year, right? So yeah, I just let you quickly introduce yourself to have a sense of who you are and where do you come from, like briefly.
Well,
You can grab the mic, by the way.
my name's Jose. I'm from California. I'm about 34 years old. I've um, Mexican. Come from a family of background Mexican heritage. I lived in the United States for about 25 years, 26 years. I moved around a couple times. I used to be in the military. I've been to Mexico, Central America, South America, now Asia, and I've been living here for about a year, almost a year. And I met here Carlitos, as I call him in Spanish. Yeah, we became friends, and I guess we're doing this interview now. See what kind of questions he has for me.
Okay. Super. I just remind you to maybe to speak a bit louder sometime. Yeah. I don't know how is it inside the mic though.
I have a problem with speaking.
Loud?
Yeah.
Okay.
Heard it from a lot of people.
Now you're gonna be alright. I think that's the beginning. So yeah, I have a quick question here on my phone, like very basic question I like to ask to people, but to stay organized. What's one thing about Da Nang that surprised you the most when you first arrived here?
How cheap it was, the cost of living, how friendly the people are, how kids here can be kids. It's very family friendly, very family oriented. I mean, I really don't care to have kids or have a family anytime soon, but if you're looking for that, kids here are very safe, are very fun, are very free. They're very
Just
This-
right in front of the camera.
yeah, but it's good. It's good though. It's good. In most countries, kids aren't really being kids anymore. They're not going outside. They're not playing with each other. They're not having a sense of community. Most people live their lives playing on computer games, TVs, staying inside. At least when I grew up, kids went outside. You played. You had fun. You didn't want to come home. It was late. Your parents would call you, but you're like, no, I want to stay a little bit longer. Now kids don't even want to go outside. They're just stuck on their PlayStation, their Roblox, which is nothing bad. There's nothing wrong with incorporating technology into our lives, but when you cannot live without sitting in front of a TV or your phone, or that's all you look forward to, that becomes kind of an addiction, which we're going to be talking about. It was addiction. It's a big thing. It's not just drugs or sex or whatever. It becomes something that once you cannot live without, it becomes a problem because it starts to interfere with your life. How you react to the world, how you react to people. Unfortunately, now we have so many people that are not able to communicate with each other that it's become a problem in the world where we can't sit down and say, okay, maybe I think you're wrong, maybe you think I'm wrong. But somewhere in the middle we meet and cool, whatever. You think what you want, I think what I want. As long as we're in that middle, we're not hurting each other, live your own life, cool. But we can't have these conversations as human beings and agree to disagree if we don't know how to be with one another or stand in the presence of somebody, because just that within itself irritates you because you don't know how to be with someone or have a conversation with someone. So the first thing someone says that you don't agree with, you get a little bit frustrated, or you get angry, or you don't know how to deal with those emotions. So then you start to fight with someone. With could be something very small and it means nothing, but in that moment you're so heated that you have these conversations that you don't know how to get yourself out of. You dig a hole, but you don't know how to say, okay, you know what? Maybe this hole's becoming a little too deep. Maybe we should put a little bit of dirt back in this hole and level it out and say, okay, you know what? I agree but don't agree. You agree but don't agree. And it's okay. We move on, live a happy life. But like I said, because we're so detached from ourselves and from people that we don't know how to have these conversations. I think now in this period of time in 2025, it's benefits everyone to agree to disagree. We live in such a multipolar world, so different from 200, 300 years ago because of TVs, because of cameras, because of iPhones and whatever, that we're literally in each other's lives like this. If you think about it, we can see a friend from across the country, what they're doing right now if they post it on Instagram. And you're like, oh, okay, I'm in your life right now, I see what you're doing. But then we come up with these judgments and we come up with these ideas of what they're doing based off this little clip, this little mini thing we see on their feed, and then we automatically think we know this person 100%. Like, oh, I know you because of this. I know you don't know this person. You know this little clip that they showed you on this video, but you don't really know their entire story or in their minds or what they feel, what they think, And I think it's become a big problem that we're judging people's lives based off of these little clips that they put, on social media. And I think it's become a little dangerous putting your life constantly on social media, because now everyone has access to you in your life, and now everyone has that authority that where they can judge you and judge your life based on whatever you post, regardless if that's your entire life or not, And I think that's a little dangerous, because now people think they have, not control, but I say they have full access to your life, as where they really don't, because they come and actually meet you and talk to you and sit down with you. The conversation of what you're having as a person and the conversation you're having as your social media interprets as two different people, two different personalities of how your life really is, and it's kind of beneficial to understand that what you see on TV, what you see on social media, what you see on posts, it's very different. Yeah, they're accumulating a different audience than what they do in their personal lives,
That's so interesting and deep as an entrance. And I do agree with you, it's so easy to take as the truth what we see on social media. Like, even for us, even if you're aware of that, it's so easy sometimes to get caught, and you think, inside of the people life on social media, you take it as the truth, but everything is a lie. Like, the whole thing is a lie. And this nourish then feeling, which is this nourish comparison. People compare themselves. We are comparing ourselves with other people on social media, and this is very toxic, right? So I don't expect it that much deep as the entrance of the podcast. I love it. I really love it. It makes me laugh because there is so much loudness around us, like they building a building and then the children. But maybe this conversation is made for have some noise around, right? And that's it. But
I think that's the part of it is like life. There's so much background noise everywhere. There's the media telling you something, your friends telling you something, the culture telling you something, society telling you something. And at the end of the day is listening to all that noise, but doing your own thing, living your own life. Because like you said, we compare too much that it takes away from our personal experience, because now we're trying to be like someone else. Now we're trying to do that other thing. Now we're trying to copy someone else. Now we're not living authentically anymore. We're living based off what we think other people want to see from us. And that's not healthy, because at the end of the day, you're going to start people pleasing instead of pleasing yourself and living life according to what makes you a better person, what makes you want to achieve more things. Now, instead of saying, what do I want? You're saying, what do they want? What do these people want? What do they want to see from me? And I think that's kind of a thing about being an influencer is after a certain while, you start to lose yourself. You start to instead of focusing on what your original cause was, now you're saying, oh, how many likes can I get? How many people can follow me? What can I do to attract more people? And it's like sometimes these people you attract are not really authentically those people. There are a lot of followers, say you have 100 people who follow you. Maybe 20 of those people are actually truly living that life that you're living. The other ones are just in it for the trend, for the follow, for, whatever else it is. And I used to think, this influencing stuff was like whatever. But even if you only get across 10 people out of the 100, truly 10 people, those 10 people could go and spread it to other 10 people, and another 10 people, and another 10 people. And I think after a while, you truly get a message across. Even from the 100 people, say 10% get it. That's good. That's changing the world just a little bit by little, just by those few people. Right.
So I have a question for you related to all this topic. What's for you for people to improve their life or just to let it go, as you said? What's the main value to seek in life? Then it is freedom and traveling. It is truth. It is wiseness. It is experienced. What is the most valuable value each human should looking for, seeking or nourish and aim to have in life for you?
I think
Not easy question though.
no. I think it's at the end is authenticity. We are one species. Yes, we're human, but every human is very unique. We have unique fingerprints. We have unique eyes. We have everything about us is unique. We have different personalities. Even if you look at dogs, your friend's dog versus your other friend's dog, very different personalities. They have their own thing, and I think it's you being authentic in a world where everyone literally wants to be the same. They want to follow the same influencer. They want to be the same trend. If you look at trends in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, how not just one country but the world dressed the same. Their hairstyles were the same. The type of music they listen to the same. It's these cultural, and it's cool. It's fun to immerse yourself in I want to be like the 80s. I want to dress like the 90s. But it's following that fad, but not losing your authenticity, because people lose authenticity, and then you just mesh into this thing where all the influencers are the same, all the people are the same, this generation's the same. It's the whole point is not to be the same, it's to be different.
Yeah, but I feel you. The concept of conformism, and a lot of people get caught in conformism, and conformism could be bad because it can suppress the real value, your real authenticity. But at certain points, we cannot escape the conformism. For example, live in society. We cannot we cannot quit some manner to just for as a survival instinct, or maybe having a tattoo. Having a tattoo is like conformism because 200 years ago maybe we don't gonna have a tattoo because this is all about conformism as well. But I got you. I think conformism in the mind and people just follow, and they don't. I think too many people don't. Do introspection and they don't how to say in English, they don't take the most of idea they are in front of them. They don't take it and rethink, unlearn. Most of people should unlearn. I did. I think you did. Unlearn to learn again, or asking everything around, asking what is science, what is history. What is all the things we learn at school? What is everything we get as an insight from the beginning? We should have an eye of introspection and doubt, right? I don't know if doubt is a good word, but think again about all the concept we learn, because everything is a concept. Science is a concept. Someone tell me I have a cells in my body, but do we see the cells right now? Not really. This is a concept. It is true. I don't know. You have to make research, right?
I don't believe an unlearning thing. This is us coming to you earlier. We're talking about how it's not about unlearning or taking away from yourself. You know, we all have a good side and a bad side, and whoever says they don't, they're full of caca. That's bull. Everyone has their good. Everyone has their bad. What we suppress is a different thing. You know, and like how you said, I don't believe we should unlearn things. We should just add to them, because taking that away and throwing it away serves no one good. Because if you hide your bad side, you're just being fake now. You're not being an authentic. You're not incorporating your good and your bad to become your authentic self. You know, like I said, everyone has their good and bad. That's unavoidable. But when you take away things, instead of saying, okay, I understand this doesn't work, but how can I progress in my life understanding that this doesn't work? Like, you know how we see biology didn't take away from itself, it just kept adding to itself. It kept building from little cells to organisms to you know, body parts to whatever. We you know, it's adding to itself, but consciously understanding this doesn't work. How can I change this? How can I improve? But I think what most people get stuck is not how can I change this, how can I improve, it's how can I take away, and I'm doing this wrong. And I think that's a wrong mindset to look at, because now you're becoming a victim. Oh, poor me, I'm such a bad person, I'm doing this wrong, you know, it's my fault, blah, blah, blah. Instead of saying, you know what, I'm not a bad person, maybe I'm doing this wrong, how can I fix this, let me improve and move forward. I think we victimize ourselves, we blame ourselves for things instead of saying, you know what, yes, I'm wrong, how can I move forward, how can I progress, and leave it at that. Because I think people get stuck in, I'm doing wrong, I'm bad, and they get stuck in this depressive state where they can't move forward because they're like, oh, everything I'm doing is wrong, everything I can't figure out a right way. And in life there is no right way. Yes, we have rules, yes, we have systems, yes, we agree upon this is how things should be, but at the end of the day, we're just making things up as we go. Like science, you know, it's like you said, we know something now, but in 10 years, it's gonna be very different than what we know now. I mean, we're just adding things. We're not taking away from. We're just adding things, and I believe that at this point in our lives, you know, we need to stop shaming ourselves for the bad things we do. We're human. I think that's part of being human, is messing up and then saying, oh shit, oh, excuse my language, oh, I messed up, and maybe I should go about this a different way. Instead of keep doing the same thing I'm doing, because I'm just going to keep getting the same return from the same thing that I'm doing. But I think people get stuck in that, but where do I go from here? I think a lot of people feel lost in that aspect, that where do I go from here? And we have so much social media now that no one knows to go left, to go right, to go up, to go down, to go center. People get stuck. They're like, well, what's the right way to do these things? And there's no right way. It's just what way fits best for you in your situation, because everyone is living a different situation. You come from a different background. I come from a different background. You know, my life situation is different than yours, but we're living almost identical lives because we're living here in Da Nang. We're doing the same things. We want the same things, but our life situations are very different, you know. So I think that's where we each as an individual can use discernment, you know, and say like, okay, this might work for you, but it doesn't work for me, so I'm gonna do it this way, you're gonna do it this way. But at the end of the day, we're still doing the same thing, if that makes sense.
It does. We have very different point of view, and that's why it's so interesting. And one thing I like right now is people don't even know what you do right now in life, and this is good because they don't have judgment. Then they can just listen your substance. But I have a question though, more linked to the 3D material world. Let's say you want to have a similar lifestyle than us and keep moving and keep traveling, because maybe that's the way to be more authentic. So you want to because we traveling, right? You and me traveling, we have this same substance, even if our life is very different, right? So how we do to traveling and at the same time maintaining a sense of um, how can we travel and keep traveling and earning money nowadays if we want to stay authentic, or you know, yeah, just that. I think that's a very good starting point. How can we keep traveling? How can we travel and make some money? Like, what is your experience? Because you seems to be to see you seems to see you aware. For me, I feel like that you're aware, so you don't gonna take any job. Like, if there is a job you hate, you don't gonna make it just for the sake of making money. So once you become aware and you have awareness, how can you keep traveling and survive in this world of how everything change, and maybe most of opportunity become online and on social media, and you want to stay authentic to yourself? Like, how can you keep moving, traveling, stay free, and earning money in the same time?
Um, that's a very. It's not a hard question, but it's a very person-based question, because I think we're very fortunate that our passports allow us to travel to multi countries, and you know. Uh, but I would say from my traveling, all my traveling is one. What do you want out of your situation? And I say this because is what do you want out of life? Like, if you want, like for instance, me, I love living by the beach. I want a more chill life. I want to be able to afford my lifestyle, not expensive. As you can see, me and Carlitos live different lives. I live off of the same 10 clothes that I have. You know, my wardrobe is 10 days. You know, I maybe wash every 5 days. And some people are like, how can you live like that? But it's, to me, that's always been me. I've never really bought clothes. I never really spent money on shoes. You know, my money was always spent on traveling, eating, and my vices. Put it that way. You know, so those are my what I see, what I want to spend my money on. Everyone wants to spend their money on something different. Some people want good clothes. Some people want PS5. Some people want whatever. You know, it's personally based. But one is where you feel comfortable and safe. I think is where you can express yourself authentically, because you can go to any country and start a YouTube channel, or start a podcast, or start a whatever, and you can make money anywhere, to be honest with you. And I think that's one thing, when you don't know, when you live in a country, when you just think, oh, this is the only way I can live and survive, it's not. You know, I've been to 25 different countries, and I can tell you that in any of those countries you can make money. How much money? It's up to you. Depends on your skills, depends on your whatever, but you can make money anyway, you know, in any country. I say it's whatever you can support as your lifestyle. If you want to live by the beach, you know, have cheap coffee and do this and this and that, then you go to a place that you find that. You know, but you have to travel and see the world, I would say, and understand what is it you want. Do you want to live by the beach? Do you want to live by the mountains? Do you want to have Gucci, Prada? Do you want to go to rooftops every Friday? Like, with these come money, you know. I live a very poor, homeless lifestyle, so I don't need a lot of money to survive. But there's people who want to go out every Friday, spend money on a bottle, go hang out with friends, you know, go do these extravagant things. And yeah, you can. You go to Ho Chi Minh, you know, you can go live that lifestyle, live a nice, like have a nice rooftop apartment, you know, go out, maybe spend $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month. It's doable. Or you can just eat egg banh mi's for 15,000 dong, have, you know, cheap coffee, go to the beach, live maybe off of $800 a month. Totally up to you what you want out of life. But it's personal based on what you want, what you prefer to spend your money on, what you think your time is worth, you know, because some people are different, also different levels in their lives. Some people want stability. Some people want to live somewhere for 5 years and have, you know, a dog, you know, a partner. Some people want to go and be single and just party, meet people, network, you know, travel. It depends on where you are in life too, you know. I think that's where do you.
Now this is very interesting, and I think we are here for experience. Every humans on this earth is here to experience and find the best on those experience. What's fit the best right now in that time, in that timing for you right now. And you mentioned something interesting before recording. Is like I love this topic because for me it's very new. Um, People feel they always have to strive for something. Like striving is very human feeling. And you say to me like nobody can stay sit down for 2 hours and doing nothing like this. This is rare. This is seldom that people can sit for even 30 minutes, like close the eyes and try to let it go. Don't think about anything. We always have to feel productive. We even gonna feel guilty if we don't do something. I have this feeling. For me, it's very hard to stay doing nothing. And so last month I was in Nepal, just come back in Vietnam, and for the first time in my life I did a monastery retreat with a monk, and 7 hours per day sitting on the floor doing nothing, close the eyes, working on the feelings. Some meditation was guided, some meditation was free, but for me that was very hard at the point of the three first day, like I skip half of the classes, I skip them, and I just go to the library to read some book because we don't have phone. The monk take our phone for 10 days, so we just hanging around in the monastery. It was incredible experience, but I enjoy more talking with people than sit down and meditate. But only after 10 days. Only after 10 days, I could meditate from 30 minutes to not really meditate, because I learned what is meditation. Now it's more than just suppress the ideas and saying nothing. This is only level 1 of meditation, and there is like up to 10 level. But at the end of 10 days, bro, I can clearly be more calm, more quiet in my mind, internally and externally. This is very interesting because I see the potential you can do. You can dive. You can how you say? You can dig. You can dig it a lot. But you see, I get my phone back. I come back in the society. After this month in Nepal, come back here in Da Nang, and boom, I feel I want to be more productive again. This is my personality. I want to do some video. I want to make some money. I want to meet some people, and I want to have a better physique. I want to go to the gym, and I'm happier. And I'm very happy like this. It's working for me. But what is interesting is like, yes, we didn't have this much productivity before, when we were farmers, when there was like less technology. Because anyway, you mentioned yourself, most of people were farmers before, like long time ago, like up to 600 years ago. Most of people work with the earth, right? And there is a season, like during the winter, what people do? They don't work, right?
I feel people back then were more creative than we are now. More creative because they had they had less distractions. You know what I'm saying? And it's more, which brings out more creativity, because if you sit by yourself, you're gonna start coming up with more thoughts and ideas and more thoughts and ideas.
Yeah.
But I also say, you know, I know people don't see it this way, but we're machines. We're humans, but we are biological machines. You know, your brain is like a computer. It's like a. That's why meditation, you say you feel more open to ideas, more energy, more, because your mind is a CPU. It's a processor. When you go and you do this meditation and you not erase everything, but you stop inputting so many things, that your mind is now clearer to receive more information.
Yeah.
And it's like a computer. You have so much data, so much crap. Once you delete everything, your computer has more processing power, more energy, you know. So you're able to focus on different things, you know. We don't really think anything. We just let things come to us, and then we physically go and do it, you know. So it's these meditations are also good like I said, to let things go. But I think when people get confused is that you're supposed to meditate and not think about nothing. And you can't think about nothing. Like, it's impossible. Like, there's so many things that you cannot think about nothing. It's impossible. But it's more of, I'm letting these things go so I can focus my energy on something else. Because, in the past 25 years, we've had so much technology that our evolutionary mind, to compress things in such short time, we have so much depression, so much anxiety, so many mental things, because we were given so much information and so many things in a short amount of time that our minds didn't have the time to develop and be able to process these things. It's like having an old crappy computer with a quantum, just leap of information. This computer can't process all that stuff. It starts to malfunction, And I believe kids nowadays are starting to be born with more mental capacities of understanding more things. But also because we have a lot of more viruses and crap, and I would say infiltrated into our stuff, that it's easier to deteriorate a child's mind. Even though there's so much good information, there's also so much bad information that if you don't know how to filter or think for yourself and say, this doesn't make sense, then you're just going to intake whatever information people give you and you're just going to go with it. And I think that's very bad for a society, because now you're raising the government, I won't say the government conspiracies, but now you're getting this information from top down that really it is the government who is controlling how you think and process, versus you say, you know what, this doesn't make sense to me. Let me ask more questions. Let me try to find more information. Let me go see Spotify, YouTube, people. Let me go travel and see if what these people are saying is true about this country. Because you hear things on TV and then you go to this place and you're like, this is nothing like how they told me on TV. So who's wrong? Maybe no one's wrong, but they're just highlighting this portion versus highlighting everything. Yeah. So that's when you use discernment. You say, okay, maybe there are these things going on in this country, but it has nothing to do with the overall country. It's just these specific people, this certain thing. But because the TV is so widespread in all the world, not just your little 1,000, 2,000 people you get on YouTube. You're seeing millions of people. Yeah. So if these people don't think for themselves, they're just going to accept that as reality and be like, okay, that's how this is and what it is. Never question anything else. Yeah, sure. And that's dangerous, because you're now putting people in boxes versus saying, oh, well, maybe that's just a little portion of this.
No, and you speak English, bro. So it's even, I feel this is even more true for us. Like, I'm French, so people, I don't know why, but people are very shit at speaking English. Like, we are not good at speaking English, and because we have less hour. And I really think that the French government push, like, they don't want. Once again, this is not really conspiracy, but they don't really. This is not in the government interest that people speak English, because if they speak English, they're gonna go out of France, and maybe they're gonna realize that they can make more money or they can have a better situation outside of France, and they're just gonna leave the country and the culture.
Well, that's why, hundreds of years ago, the church was the only one who knew how to read. Yeah. If you look at back in the people when the first churches first came to like the Philippines or Mexico or these countries that are not civilized, the only people who knew how to read were wealthy, which was mostly the church or the government. And the reason they kept these people, pardon my language, stupid, is because they knew if these people learned to read, if they learned to write, they learned the truth about the things that they were being told, they wouldn't have go along with it.
Harder to control.
Yeah, it'd be way harder to control. But if you keep people, illiterate and uneducated, which is still happening in a lot of the world, that's why, like how you said, why would you learn? Like, I speak Spanish, I speak English, I learn, I know some parts of different cultures, but I can understand if you're lying to me in English or lying to me in Spanish, or lying, but then I start to say, okay, well, what you're saying in English, what you're saying in Spanish, what you're saying in French, don't match. So who's right and who's wrong? Now you start to question. But if you only know one language and you only know one thing and you only know this, it's harder for you to look at it in different perspectives. Of course, yes.
Language is limitation. I learned that with Buddhism here in Asia. Like we call it something with the word like the woods, but this is emptiness for Buddhists because this is not the wood. This is what we call the wood. This is only a designation. Like this is human creation. This is limitation because by the language. But anyway, yeah, this is very very interesting. This is very interesting, and because you want to talk about addiction today as well. This is another topic, right? What is the main addiction today for you? Because you seems to be, well, that passionate you. That you love that subject, right? You spend a lot of time to think about it. For me, the main addiction is I think it's sugar. The main addiction is sugar, and then is substance like of course alcohol, drugs, nicotine. Nicotine is a big one. I think nicotine is the that was my addiction for a long time. Nicotine. This is not good at all for the body. And I know even people use nicotine as a patch because they have a boost of productivity, but then you increase your prolactin, which is like it makes your testosterone going down and all this kind of thing. And even for the brain, it's not good as well. Like, and of course all the drugs like from weed, marijuana to fucking big drugs like how you call heroin. Like I don't know. I think so many people are concerned by addiction, like video game and pornography is a very big one for men right now, I think. And I don't know, it seems like women have less addiction, it seems to, in general, but maybe they have emotional addiction like social media and comparison. I'm not really sure. I exchange more with the men on the topic usually, so what do you think?
I think first off, we should stop thinking of addiction as a bad thing. I believe, coming from Latin roots and then and being in Asia and traveling a lot, I realized that there are two different types of shame. Latin people use guilt, like fear. And Asian cultures, part of the world use shame, And when you think of addiction, you're either shamed by it or you're guilted by it. No one ever asks you, why are you an addict? They just say you're an addict. So I'm gonna shame you or I'm gonna guilt you. And for the person who is an addict, either way it's not healthy for them, because you're putting emotional stress on this person on top of the emotional stress that they already have with the addiction that most of them know they have. You talk to people, they mostly say, oh yeah, I know I have a problem. Okay, well, admitting it is one step. Admitting you have a problem is the first step. You can't admit you have a problem, then you can't fix anything. You don't know what you can't see, so to say. So when you take those two away, you start to say, okay, what is your addiction? And I know people say, well, I'm not an addict, but we live in a society of addicts. And that's just, everyone's an addict. Everyone's addicted to something. And you start to see it when you start to think of addiction not as like a bad thing. It's just a chemical thing in our body that some of us are depleted from based off of where we grew up, how we grew up, technology and all these things that we look to try to find something to refill this chemical serotonin, that we need, that we feel that we need. Some people, like I said, are addicted to porno, some people are addicted to food, some people are addicted to coffee, some people are addicted to drugs, some people are addicted to gaming, some people are addicted to being in relationships. You can't be alone, some people, like moms, are addicted to being moms. You know, they're like, oh, I cannot live without my children, without being a mom. This is the only thing I know. It becomes an addiction when you take this thing away from someone and they can't proceed in life without it. That's an addiction. That can be anything, anything. But realizing this, saying, okay, I'm addicted to X, Y, and Z. Why? Why am I an addict? Okay, maybe your family comes from a line of addicts, and you know it inherited that you have an addictive personality. Maybe something happened to you as a child where now you feel the need. You know, your parents weren't there, your dad wasn't there, your mom wasn't there, whatever. Now you're looking into your relationships to fill that void of, okay, your mom wasn't there, my dad wasn't there. You need that fill from something or someone. When you acknowledge these things and say, okay, I'm falling into these patterns because of this addiction, then you can say, okay, I'm understanding the root cause of my addiction. And you can go about it in different levels, how to manage it in your way. And for instance, like I said, I was an addict. I mean, I technically still am, you know, but I can control myself now. And it's not taking away the addict. I'm always gonna be an addict. I'm an addict, that's just how I am. I have an addictive personality. I used to go from, you know, food, I was obese. I was, you know, 25 kilos overweight. You know, I did it with alcohol. I used to drink 5-6 times a day. I mean, a week, sorry. I used to party a lot. Now, you know, I have my coffee and my smoke, and, you know, but I've learned to balance everything, you know, because I noticed, like I said, I was an addict. I would move from being unhealthy to being just strict healthy. Or, you know, like, there was no medium for me. There was no balance. It was either I was or I wasn't. And that's very dangerous as well, you know. But when I realized that I was going to these extremes, I had to force myself to say, okay, I'm human. I like this, I like this, I like to smoke, I like to have my coffee, I like to eat my desserts, I like to work out. I need to find a balance, because if not, each way I go, healthy or non-healthy, it's gonna destroy me inside. You know, nothing too much is good for you. Life always finds a balance. There's always an equilibrium. There's always a middle. There has to be, you know. But you have to understand that, and if you're not at that point in your life where you can balance yourself, you know, because I know people say, oh, I can't have alcohol because I am gonna fall into. Okay, that's good. You understand that. You know that if you drink, you're gonna fall back into that temptation. Now the goal is to have a drink or 2 drinks. Not saying you have to drink, but if you want to be able to go out with your friends, being able to have a beer, 2 beers, and say, okay, here's my limit, I'm done. Because at the end of the day, if you can't control your mind is going to control you. And that's what an addiction is. It's your mind telling you, I need this or I cannot survive. And it's conquering that addiction, saying, you know what, you don't need this, but I will allow you to have this if we can balance it with something else. I will have my 3 cups of coffee if I hydrate and drink my coconut water and have my watermelon water and work out. I can have my 2 beers with my friends every Friday if I live a healthier lifestyle and watch my money. And you can do it. It's possible. I mean, I'm here telling you it's possible. Living the life that I used to live, or thinking it was impossible. But it's harder and different for everyone depending on your addiction, because your brain itself is like a river, a canyon. You know, water is constantly going down this rock, and little by little that river becomes a canyon, and it gets deeper and deeper and deeper. So the deeper that addiction goes into your brain, the harder it is for you to get out of it. And sometimes most people do have to do, you know, ceremonies like mushrooms or abigonia or these plant medicines to help make a bridge. You know, sometimes that river is too deep that you can't fill it up with anything. So you have to find a way to make a bridge over it and say, okay, maybe I accept that this is here, but I also know that I can build a bridge to get over that. you know, in a sense. So it's based off of everyone, but it comes from inside. You know, at the end of the day, you can't make anyone not be an addict. You can't change anyone, unfortunately. The only person you can change is yourself, and you have to want it. You know, you have to say like, what I'm doing, my addictions are affecting not only me, they're affecting my family, they're affecting my friends, they're affecting my relationships, they're affecting. Once it starts affecting your life in that way, it's not healthy anymore. It's you have to change, or else you're just gonna keep repeating the same thing over and over again, and then blaming whatever, the universe, God, and saying, oh, it's your fault, instead of saying, you know what, this shit's, oh, pardon my French, these things are my fault. Maybe I need to do something in order to change it. But that takes responsibility, and I think a lot of people don't want to take responsibility. It's easier to blame someone else for what you're doing. And I think that's a big thing with our society and our people, is that we don't like to be wrong. We don't like to say it's our fault.
That's the difference between a young man and a man. Is taking responsibility. For me, that's the huge thing. But this is very good, man, because your method is like it's not a method, but your approach is like learn to accept your addiction and balance it, and I love it.
At the end of the day, it's you. It's what makes you. You know, you can't just pick pieces you want and don't want. You know, like every piece that you are is gonna help you grow in some way. You know, good or bad, it's gonna help you grow in some way. You can't just say, oh, I don't want to be bad, I just want to be good. Well, unfortunately, life, there is no good or bad. You know, I can say, oh, that bird's gonna eat that insect, oh, that's bad. But it's not bad. It's just that bird needs to eat, and it's going to, that worm gives it its nutrition, and that's just the way life is. And that's accepting that that's the way life is. You know, the bird knows it can get eaten by a snake. The snake knows it can get eaten by a mongoose. The mongoose knows it can get eaten by whatever. We can get eaten by whatever. Like, that's the way life is, and we have to accept life as it is. And I think a lot of us we want to live in a different reality. We all live in our own worlds, in our own minds, and we see things differently. But I think sometimes we live up here, and we don't live here and say, you know what, this is the way it is. Regardless of what I wanted to, I want world peace. I want everyone to have food. I want everyone to have clean drinking water. I want that, of course. But the reality is that we don't live in that world. You know, now we don't live in that world. We don't have enough coherent people to actually make a change globally. We can change our cities, we can change our little areas, our little towns, but to do it on a global scale, it takes global consciousness to do that, and I don't think we're there yet. We will in, 20, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, I'm sure we will, as our minds are capable of withholding more information. Like I said, right now, some of us are able to hold this information and understand.
So wait,
a lot of people are not.
What are you talking about? You think people gonna lean into what? Like society gonna lean into this superhuman? Like people gonna be super wise and like?
No, it's not even fantasy. It's just that at a certain point, we're gonna look at ourselves and say, this is not sustainable. Either we're gonna kill ourselves, or we're gonna do something to change it. And not for us, not for me and you, not for our grandparents. We've already
talking about striving all this technology and improvement and stuff. That's what you're talking about.
Well, yes, but at a certain point, you can't live in a society that only benefits a few people. It doesn't. The chain will break somewhere, and it'll all just come down, collapsing. So you have to find a way for everyone to live symbiotically with nature.
Not democracy. Because it seems like that every societies everywhere in the world tends to, once they become a second and first world country, they tends to be like a democracy. And once you have democracy, the first part is good, and then it's become the hell.
But coming to that is, why do you want a democracy? And then a lot of democracies come with capitalism. But people don't understand that the point of capitalism is to make capital. And the problem isn't money. It's not about how much money you make. Clearly, making money is good. We all need money, unfortunately. We all need. It's what you do with that money.
Yeah, I heard the sentence that I think that was a week ago that was amazing. Is like, you have a hurt, you have a hurt. You hurt, you can say I love you to your mom, or you can say a very bad words to your mom and be very angry. This is your hurt, right? You take a decision towards it. You could love your mom or you could hate your mom. This is your hurt for whatever reason. But when you receive money, what's really money is just paper, nothing else. It's trees cut down in a paper, right? Nothing. No, there is nothing, no life. But when you give money to someone, then what you have in the heart reveals with the money you receive, right? So you receive this paper, and then if you have a good heart, you're gonna do a good things. If you have a heart corrupted, you're gonna do bad things, right?
Money at the end of the day is not moral. Money is not good or bad. Money is just money. We as people, as humans, as people who are able to think and process, we decide what's good and bad. But because of that, we decide what's good and bad. So say I'm a billionaire. It's my money. I decide what is good or bad. So I decide how to spend my money.
Yeah, just to say that money is not evil and it's okay to have to chase money. I love chasing money right now. I love to make people around me successful. I love everything about it. But if you do the good things with it, I mean, yeah.
But I also think it's a society thing. You know, when like for instance Vietnam. 80 years ago, they were very poor people. This place was bombed. You know, like. And now you're starting to see middle class people having money, but with
the construction all around.
But with that changes people's attitudes. You know, now people start to fight over money. Now people start having family problems because it's like, oh, this is my land now. This is your land now. You know, it's like when people win the lottery. You know, someone wins $3 million. Those people usually go broke or become drug addicts after a year and a half because when you get that much amount of money and you don't know how to use it because you have so much power now, you just boom go head first into buy this, buy that, do this, do that, do this, do that, and then at the end of the day, a year and a half, you're broke. That $3 million is gone. You know, people think 3 million is a lot, but in reality, 3 million is nothing.
If you don't know how to manage it. Yeah, it's like me. If you give me right now $20 million, I don't know how to manage it because I never had that before, so I'm gonna lose it, right? Yeah, and it reminds me of a discussion I have with the UK people when I arrived in Da Nang. He say, because he was a teacher in China, he say, oh, it reminds me of China. It's the 30 gold years, right? You know what is the 30, les 30 glorious 30 gold years? He said, oh, it reminds me the 30 great years of China. So people they're gonna go to the supermarket to buy more things, feel depressed, and then gonna feel like the West. So yeah, I think it's what it means by that. There is a cycle every time, right? And there is this cycle here in Vietnam. Oh yes, people start to have a life-changing situation. Not for everyone, but it's starting to change.
Like in Vietnam,
do you think
here Vietnam now I feel is maybe how people felt in the 60s, 70s in America.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You know, yeah, how like everything was good, economy was good, people were having things, you can buy stuff, you know, but like you see people in America now, they have everything. They have multiple cars, but they're so unhappy because they spent all their time and money on these things, and then you see unfortunately natural disaster happen. It takes away their house, and these people are just, they go crazy because in their minds they lost everything. Everything they know, they lost it. And I understand it sucks, but at the end of the day, you know, these things can be replaced.
Yeah.
You know how many cars there are, how many houses there are. Yes, it's gonna take a while. Yes, it's gonna take money. Yes, it's a.
We don't take them to the grave, as you say, right?
At the end of the day, we return everything. We return this body. You die, you return. The worms eat you, or you burn. I was like, you know, it's everything in this life is basically we're rented. You know, we're renting everything. At the end of the day, we got to give it all back. But people get lost in that, and I see some people, like, for instance, my grandmother, she's worked since she was 7. She's 70 something now. She maybe retired 5 years ago. But some people, all they know in their life is work. All they know is this one thing. So when you take that one thing away from them, they lost themselves.
No, I think this is human feelings. You want to feel useful to the community. You heard about the 5 grade zone, the blue zone, or people living more than 100 years ago and above. Like this special zone of people are very healthy. And one of the criteria is like they are useful to the society, aka working. I think we have to. That's also what I want to talk about. Personally, something helped me to fight my addiction before when I have a lot of addiction is like finding my purpose. But in reality, it's not finding the purpose because purpose is inside. So we don't find, we just develop this, is already here inside. You find for what you want to strive in life right now because it's gonna change, right? And this allow you to, maybe you want to wake up early, you want to stop to destroy yourself because it's like working for yourself, right, internally. But just to say that if you don't work, then you have free time. And the free time is like the playground of the devil. If you give me a bunch of money and free time, I'm gonna destroy myself, bro. That's why I love striving. That's why we have different vision because for you it's like people, they don't know how to sit down and do nothing. But me, if I get sit down and I do nothing for a long period of time, I'm gonna destroy myself.
But it's not sitting around doing nothing all day, every day. I'm saying, like I said, there's a balance. Yeah, it's good to go and strive for things. But it's also good to sit at home and reflect on the day, reflect on your relationships, reflect on yourself. Be conscious about the things you're doing. What am I eating? What am I drinking? What am I watching? What am I listening to? But like you said, the blue zones, yes. How you said they live longer because they have a sense of purpose and community, right? But also what you don't see is these people take care of themselves first. They eat healthy. They work, like they take naps, they sleep. Like I said in the airplane, you can't put someone's mask on first. First, put on your mask, then help someone else out. You can't give to somebody what you don't have. You can't fill a cup with an empty glass. And that's what the society right now. That's how I feel. Everyone wants to help other people. But why? Why don't you help yourself first? Yeah. Because some people can't sit and look at themselves. They rather have external problems and say, oh, I need to fix that, versus sitting down and say, you know what can I fix here? Because I promise you, if you fix what you have in here, anywhere you go in the world, any relationship you have, any situation, you're going to sit with calm and be like, you know what? I'm good. You don't need external validity to make you feel happy and whole. Yeah. You can literally sit anywhere in the world and just be like, oh, I'm happy with my life. Now, once you get to that point where you can say, okay, I can sit here, I can be happy. All right, now what can I do for my community? Now how can I help you? Because now I'm doing it because I want to. I want to go help. It's better when people give you things when they want to, not because they have to. It feels fake when they have to give it to you. Oh, I have to go to this job. Oh, I have to help this person. No, I want to go to this job. I want to go help this person. I want to go do this thing.
A lot of people get stuck themselves with a situation they don't even want. Like they make so many children, or they buy the house, or they... Because that's why the society buying into us as well. Like people starting to wake up. Our generation wake up right now, so this feel good. Bro, I see we are good, but the battery start to tend into the low side. So... do you want to let people know how can they find you, or how can you help them with something?
Let's see, I have Instagram and TikTok, and I actually have a podcast that's coming out in January.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about. Is your podcast gonna be on Spotify, not on YouTube, right?
I'm still working on it for sure. Spotify. It's gonna be about 8 episodes. It's from my personal experience, something that helped me in my life to understand what I understand now. I don't know if people know about the Hermetic principles, Hermeticism. You know, the Kabbalion is one book that I truly cherish and love because it's not a religious text. It's not a creative text, I should say. It's a logical text of how things function in a day-to-day life. Not rules, but just, you know, we are governed by rules. You know, we live in a mechanical universe. Our bodies are mechanical. Everything has its input, computation, and output. You know, and it's just these theories, laws that help you throughout your life understand why you do the things you do, why this functions the way it functions, and I think that's very crucial now for people to understand why they do the things they do. You know, I think people do things unconsciously. Most people would do it consciously. You know, there's some a-holes, you know, some bad people out there who do things consciously, but most people walk around unconsciously. You see, you walk around now in the metro, subway, or whatever. People are literally like this, like they're like, you're literally living in a whole different dimension. And now it's a good time, I believe, to understand, like I said, why we do the things we do. Because once you understand yourself and how you act, how you react, why you see things the way you see them, why you act the way you do, you can start to say, maybe I'll choose a different emotion this time. Maybe I'll choose a different way to present myself. Maybe I'll choose a different way to speak about this issue, or whatever. You start to understand yourself, and I think that's what separates us from a dog or a cat or a bird, is that we're able to look at ourselves and say, why did we do this, instead of just doing it out of impulse, you know. But anyway, the Spotify, the podcast, it'll be about these 7 principles that I used in my personal life, and how do I explain them in a real world scenario for everyone to listen to and understand, and hopefully get across, and maybe help a couple people understand themselves a little bit. Because at the end of the day, if we don't think for ourselves, we're going to let society think for us, and that's not a good thing either.
I love it. I love it. Thank you very much, Jose, for this talk. Do you want to add something?
Think for yourself. Be a good person. Don't stress. I think a lot of us, we want to control life, and regardless if we're here or not, the world's going to keep spinning. So control what you can control, what you can't control. Yeah. Let it be.
Dichotomy of control. I love it. And Neville Goddard is that was American businessman maybe, and he said, like, I love this. This is very simple, but this is very true. My go-in sentence: you become what you think about. You become what you think about. This is so powerful and simple. You become what you think about. Like, literally, that's just to resonate with what you say. Thank you very much for this talk. It was very interesting. If you guys listening until now and you're still here on the video, thank you very much for listening us. I think there is some great insight in this video for everyone anyway. And I will link in the description the podcast, Instagram, and the social media of Jose, because I'm not sure he know the name about the podcast yet, but
I have the name. It's but I'll release it in January. It's the release date. But Instagram and TikTok, they're more of my pages speaking about, you know, health, spiritual health, physical health, mental, emotional health. But yeah, you could put it on the links, and we'll go from there.
I will let everything in the description, and people can find you, because maybe some people wanna exchange with you or listen to your podcast further. It's really very interesting, and I hope the noise was good, because so many noise, and but this is the part of the adventure, because we cannot control it, right? We choose that spot, as he said, and that's it. Thank you very much for listening, and see you in the next one. Thank you, brother.